Intl.Dhamma. Asita.
Hello, Nina.
Hello. Good
Hi.
morning. Good morning.
Good afternoon.
For you, it's afternoon.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Nina. Hello.
Hello.
Hello,
Hello,
John.
Sarah, John,
Good morning.
Nina,
Hi.
Carmen, Gabi, everybody.
Hi, Azita. Hello.
John and Sarah, have you moved house yet? Have you moved into your new place yet?
No, we're just moving a little bit each day. And how about you, Azita? Have you sold your house? What is your plan?
Sold my house, have moved out, and I've got stuff everywhere.
Where are you moving to?
I'm in Cairns at the moment, and I'm going to stay here for a few months until I decide what to do next.
Where are you staying now, Asita?
I'm staying with a friend in Cairns.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And at the moment, it's like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I think it's about 30 degrees Celsius. So very hot.
It's hot. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Okay, I think it's about time. I don't know if Ajahn is here or not. Ajahn or Kun Em, is Ajahn here today? Are you here, Ajahn?
Swadika, can you hear me?
Sawadika.
Yeah,
Sawadika.
Sawadika.
We can start then. Yes.
So please start.
Yes. Nina or anyone, does anyone have anything they would like to start with?
I can say something. Last time we had many basic questions on ayatana and aramana, on the cause of dukkha, about jhana, and then Tadao had a very good question. He asked whether the Four Noble Truths can be experienced at this moment. And then Sarah explained the 3 levels of understanding that was about the pariyati, kasachanyana, pariyati, kichanyana, direct understanding, and katanyana, because this is in the commentary to the sutta of rolling the wheel of Dhamma. And these 3 levels are very, very important. Otherwise, some may believe, oh, I can think of the Four Noble Truths and that's enough. But as Ajahn always says, it is not just the words, but the reality now. So especially the first pariyati is called intellectual understanding, but it is not theoretical understanding because it has to apply to the present moment always, even intellectual understanding. And that is why Ajahn is always reminding us when we talk about dukkha. She asked, is the dukkha now? Or we discuss ayatana, Ajahn always asks, is there ayatana now? And I find this so very, very helpful. No matter what subject of Dhamma, always related to the present moment. It never is theory. So this is, I found very, very helpful.
But you see that it can be just beginning from intellectual understanding so that it can be less attachment to the theory, to the word or anything, because what is now appearing is there, no word at all. But without word, how can there be the understanding of that as it is, as not self? So if there is firm understanding about no one and no thing at all, there can be condition to understand this movement as what is it, whether it is the experiencing or that which is experienced. Only that all day, all time. There must be that reality which experiences. So there must be that which is experienced but unknown as no one there at all. That's why we keep on talking about a truth that is so very rapidly arising and falling away all the time. How can just one reality be experienced directly until there are enough conditions for the moment of direct awareness of a reality unexpectedly? And this is the understanding more about no one and no self and no thing. It's all conditioned to be different moments all the time, different reality, just only once in samsara. That's why this can condition moment of letting go, the desire or the idea of trying so hard to experience it, while there is not enough conditions to experience at all. That's why letting go, the idea of I'll try or I'll do, but this moment is already conditioned, arises and falls away, unknown. That's why having more understanding, more confidence will lead to be conditioned for the moment of understand a reality. And that moment it is direct awareness, conditioned by the previous accumulation of intellectual understanding unexpectedly. So it's just so common to be such now as it is by conditions, depending on how much understanding of the words of the Buddha, to understand that the point of listening is just to understand whatever is now as it is. No matter what, it's not self, it is not anything permanent at all. So one begins to understand how long will it take to develop parami enough to understand and let go the idea of I, because there is I at that moment of anything which appears, and at that moment there must be the 5 khandhas and the 4 namakhandhas as I, always there. Even right now, see, sanya is not known, feeling is not known, Sankhara-Dhamma, Sankhara-Khanda is not known yet, and even Vijnana-Khanda is not known. But it arises and falls away all the time by conditions. That's why only listening more, considering more, until it can condition moment of just happen to think about that which is there now, like now. Is there enough conditions to condition moment of understanding just a reality right now, little by little? But still, there is the 4 namakhandhas as self who is aware. So it takes quite a long time, long, eons and eons in order to letting go, the clinging to the self and many things in life, which is no more, all gone from moment to moment until the end of life. By then, no remembrance about anything at all in life, just like past life and this life. Keeps on going all the time like this. When there's no understanding at all, there is no condition to understand what is there now is not self or anything at all. Just be as easy, take it easy, see? Because nothing can be done. Only understanding begins to develop. And be true, truthful to the truth of whatever is now. Satya Bharami. Not to do anything because it's already conditioned and appears now. Same words of the Buddha in the Vinaya, Suttanta, and Abhidhamma, all about now. Seeing, hearing, smelling, thinking, liking, disliking, hardness, sound, and so on, all day in one's life. Only something, nothing, and something, and nothing again, completely gone. Absolutely gone. Kanika Marana, from moment to moment, unknown until Buddha enlightened. So what we're talking about, condition the understanding better and better about those self.
On the topic of dukkha, Ajahn, the other day, you mentioned that any feeling, pleasant feeling, as well as unpleasant feeling is dukkha, whatever is conditioned and arises and falls away is dukkha. And you mentioned that understanding how pleasant feeling as well as unpleasant feeling is dukkha is a condition for more metta to all beings. Could you say a little more about this? Someone had asked about metta to all beings and just stressing that understanding how any feeling is dukkha, the condition for more metta.
And the point of the question is to have more metta or to have less and less attachment to metta. See?
Yes, it should be to have less and less attachment because otherwise it's just clinging to having more metta. So more understanding leads to less attachment, which is a condition for more metta, I think.
Mm-hmm. So metta is just like any reality. It's conditioned to arise. It arises and falls away as other conditioned reality. All Sankhara-Dhamma are anicca, dukkha, and anatta. See, so metta is just like hatred, exactly the same. When there is no idea of self or less clinging to it, it indicates that Panya has developed to the degree that it can understand whatever reality as just dukkha, only arises and falls away. It doesn't belong to anyone. Even metta is there, a moment and then gone, and no understanding of the five khandhas there at all. So, but at this moment, we are talking about the reality which we call, or Buddha said, it's metta. When it's the moment of meeting anyone or any being, and what is there, what kind of feeling, what attitude is toward that being. See, it's just Panya which knows or understands what is there. Can there be kindness, no matter what happens at that very moment, to whatever being there? See, so it's not the matter of trying to understand and have more metta, but to understand that it's just a reality conditioned, and panya leads to more and more kusala because of understanding that all beings are the same, no matter who, no matter when, no matter what. Just that which experiences, arises and falls away differently. So metta is just like seeing, hearing. It experiences, but it's not the citta which is achieved because it's the moment of having, being kind, friendly, to the beings there, no matter who. And it's not trying but to check oneself whether what is that moment, kindness or just the same, no thought about the other's welfare, or as usual, as no thought about this person, only that person, see, no favorite, because all are the same. So by understanding more and more, it can condition moment of thinking about what is there as the same. He or she or I, exactly the same. Just like present object, dislike and present object. But what can be done at that moment as the best thing to do in any situation? Not just try to find out, but at moment when the citta is there with other people, it's time to understand the truth. What about kindness, or just not paying attention to the other's welfare at all? Nothing to be done with that or this person, see? But from understanding exactly the same. In the car, if someone sit and then the sun is there and no one like the sun, but if they don't like, you don't like, and who will sit there? Whatever is there is all right. See, exactly the same. It has to touch on someone, and who's that person? See, it doesn't matter at all. Exactly the same. So it's daily life, any moment, no matter in the morning, meeting someone, some people, or in the evening. See, everything goes on as usual, but understanding begins to understand that which is not self. I like it. No understanding of I, so one clings to the idea of I. I have metta, see, actually no one there. Only kindness is there from understanding that all are the same, all beings are the same. So it doesn't matter at all. I or the other can be such and such in a different situation, no selection. Someone, it can be you or I or anyone. No trouble.
Ajahn, I remember that you said metta and all beings are the same. And now you are explaining it. But I still find that point a little bit difficult.
What is difficult?
All beings are the same.
Are they not?
Chitta, Cetasika, and Rupa.
Yes. All the same, no one. It doesn't belong to anyone at all. No she, no he, no I. Only a reality which is different from other reality. Dosa is different from metta, and metta is different from lopa or attachment. When there is no understanding from the teachings very, very carefully, no understanding whether that moment is what. But when there is the understanding that each one is different, and what is there? Metta is kindness, friendliness, see? So begin to understand that characteristic anytime by conditions. No selection that I would like to study this situation, whether I have metta or not. That is wrong. But to understand realities as realities, they are the same, but they are different. So there can be the different of there can be the understanding of the difference no matter what, and that is the only way to letting go, even at that very moment of understanding. It's there, but very, very little. But it can grow little by little when there is more understanding, not trying to do or trying to have, but the understanding that the truth is that there is no one. It just arises and falls away in split seconds. See? So why bother? It's gone, everything. But it's very difficult to understand and let go the idea of self because as it has to be panya only, which performs its function as no attachment, less clinging, and less and less and less by degrees of understanding.
And Nina, this is the meaning of when Ajahn says that all beings are the same. The reference is to all beings are regarded equally without favoritism or like or dislike. So there is metta towards all equally.
And I think also the point that, for example, pleasant feeling or unpleasant feeling common to everyone. It's just a conditioned Dhamma. So it's not this person or that person's unpleasant feeling or this or that person's dosa or this or that person's goodness. They're just conditioned Dhammas. So understanding that whatever arises are just Dhammas not belonging to anyone is a condition to have more metta. Otherwise, without this understanding, we think this person is a good person or that person is a bad person or this person deserves kindness but not that. But when we understand that they are just different dharmas arising and falling away, then not this special person or that less special person. But it's very deep. It's a very deep topic.
Yes.
It all comes back to the understanding of dharmas as anatta, I think. So the more understanding of dharmas as anatta, the less favoritism, the less thinking of metta just to some person that is close to one, and the more conditions for metta to anyone around that one can be friendly towards.
Yeah, metta is one thing I never understand because our main concern is seeing realities as they are. Yeah? So we are trying to understand chitta, cetasika, and rupa. In other words, we are trying to see there is no being in this world. Yeah? While we are trying to see no beings in this world, yeah, why do we have to develop metta, which requires beings as its objects? This is the point. I never understand why developing of metta is so emphasized in Buddhism.
Only metta or all kinds of kusala?
Yeah, developing of kusala is important, but while at this moment, yeah, when one tries to understand, one is concerned with seeing realities as they are, yeah, why metta is emphasized for its development?
What about understanding? Is it less or more important than metta?
Yeah, understanding everything is important, but why metta is so emphasized in Buddhism?
And what about karuna?
Yeah, it's cetasika.
When we talk about the chitta and cetasika, we don't mean just only the word, but why does one say it's nama? Because it experiences. This is more important. Otherwise, we are so used to the word chitta, but not understanding the character of chitta that it is now experiencing. So
Yeah.
at the moment of whatever is experienced, is seen as object, there must be that which experience, but we use the word chitta all the time, forgetting about its characteristic of now, it experiences. That's why the point is that not only the word chitta, but its nature, which arises and experience now, any moment, any time in this life, it's there, unknown. See, that's why we develop the understanding of whatever is now. Is there metta now, or what is there now to be known? See, but we can talk about it because in a day, it depends on one's own accumulation for anything to arise. Someone might have metta, and someone understand it as not self. See, no choice. It depends when there is the understanding of the differences, reality, not just different person.
Yeah. When there is no self here, that means that there are no beings too.
Well, now sometimes we use the term being as shorthand for citta cetasika rupa. And when we say that metta has a being as an object, that is what the meaning is, that the object is another citta cetasika rupa apart from ourselves. Now, when we talk about, or you talk about trying to see no being, which is actually a little bit imprecise, but there it's a reference to the wrong idea of self. So the purpose of developing understanding is to see that all conditioned dhammas are not self. What we take for a being as an integral unit does not exist, because it is just conditioned realities associating together in a certain way. So we are using being in a slightly different way in those two contexts. So there's not actually any contradiction or conflict. The first of trying to see no being is a reference to seeing the characteristic of no self in all conditioned dhammas. And the second of when talking about development of metta that has another being as an object, that there it's a reference to other citta cetasika rupa, such as we know in our own case are the realities underlying what we take for ourself. Does that mean?
Yeah.
I would say there's no actual contradiction there.
But what I'd like to understand is development of for Brahma Vihara is prerequisites for developing sati and panya or not. So is it absolutely necessary to develop for Brahma Vihara for understanding of sati and panya, which sees realities as they are?
Necessary. Well, we know what the conditions for developing understanding are, don't we? It involves hearing the Dhamma. The first one is the first thing. There has to be the hearing of the Dhamma, whereas for the development of Brahmaviharas, this can be done by people who haven't heard any Dhamma. And likewise, the hearing of the Dhamma and the development of understanding is independent of whatever level of metta or karuna may have been developed already.
Yeah, in my case, I'm very concerned with I say, I'm very concerned with developing sati and panya, yeah? But I live by myself. I do not go anywhere. I do not talk with anybody. I do not see anybody. Then why it's necessary to develop metta, etc., for better understanding of realities. That's something I do not understand. I see that metta is very good quality, very important quality for everybody to develop here. But is it absolutely necessary to develop these metta, etc., when one is in the process of developing sati and panya?
Well, it will develop regardless of whether one thinks it's necessary or not. But if you have the idea that it is necessary and there has to be a certain level of metta in order for understanding to develop, that is a mistaken perception, mistaken understanding of the Buddha's teaching. Because it was never said by the Buddha that there had to be the development of the Brahmaviharas in order for the development of understanding to begin. As Ajahn has often explained, understanding is about what is appearing at the present moment.
Yeah.
When there's no understanding of the nature of reality, can there be the understanding that moment is metta or not?
Oh, it's difficult.
See, that's why in order to understand reality, we know that there are so many different realities, but the nature of each one has to be only that one. For example, metta is not the moment of karuna or ubekha, but metta is a reality. When there is the understanding of metta as not self, there can be the understanding of the characteristics of metta when it's there. When there is the idea of self, and I think that I will have metta here and now, and something like that. It's that the characteristic of metta, as one doesn't know yet what metta is. The nature of metta. No matter we're talking about metta or karuna or whatever, the nature of this reality is that which can experience. See? So, okay, we have different thought all day, but when we think of things and we think of beings, of person, of friends, at a different moment, thinking about different things and thinking about one person at a time. Different person, different thinking about that person too. So in order to understand metta, not just the word, but when it's there, see, everyone knows that metta is the characteristic of adosa. But when there's no being, how can it be such? But when there is being there, even thinking about that person, it's there to think with metta, or to think with tosa, and to think with attachment, see? That's why we have to understand the truth of each reality as it is, in order not just to say that, oh, she or he or I has metta, but what is metta? Otherwise, we think that it's metta. What about attachment so much that you can give yourself for that person? Or see, so many things has done with the attachment. Is it metta?
Yeah, metta is difficult to experience, like karuna and mudita.
Yeah.
I do understand.
Chitta now, is it easy to experience it or to understanding it? Exactly the same. That's why it depends on understanding not just the word, but its characteristic when it's there. There is seeing now, hearing, thinking, and so on. Every moment must be citta. But who knows the difference, citta? See, because not yet the understanding of the nature of citta as not self.
Yeah, yeah.
It includes all realities. We just think in terms of it's there in thought, but what is the moment when it's there? That's why it needs more and more development of understanding to be sure or firm, confidence on the truth of what Buddha said.
Mm. Yes, in one of the suttas, which is called, I call it Monkey Sutta, the Buddha emphasized on the development of Satya and Panya, but he also emphasized the importance of having 4 Brahma Viharas, which benefit not only oneself, but benefit others.
Parami.
Yeah.
So, without parami, it's impossible to let go the clinging to the idea of self. The point is that understand whatever is there as its nature, as not anything or anyone at all. And just very, very short, just arise and falls away, no more at all in samsara. But there are different realities. Some are wholesome and some are not wholesome. And the wholesomeness cannot bring the unpleasant object to be experienced. That's why in life it's better to have wholesomeness
Mm.
as parami. At that moment when it is wholesome, without panya, it cannot be parami. That's why it needs panya to consider the teachings of the Buddha and to understand that if there is still the I who tries so much to understand it, it's wrong. It's easy to go wrong because of avijja and attachment.
This is slightly different question, but if one experiences a fear of losing oneself, a fear of realizing non-self, if one has such a fear, can you say that he is on the wrong path or not?
When there's no understanding of no self, it must be there, the self, because of not understanding the truth.
I see. So it's attachment to self causes to have such a fear.
And it takes quite a long, long time to understand the truth at level of intellectual understanding, not grow wrong at all. Otherwise, it will take you wrong, away from the right.
Yeah.
In this life and other lives ahead.
Okay, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
And I think, Tadao, the reason why when there's more understanding of dhammas, why there's less and less fear of losing the idea of self that you mentioned, is because when there's that more understanding of that whatever arises is by conditions, then nothing for me to do, nothing that I can control. So it conditions living more easily, less fear about any self that's lost, because no self to be lost in the first place. Because even right now, there are just different dhammas, seeing, hearing, thinking, attachment, metta, different realities arising and falling away. So no self at all to be lost. Just the clinging to this wrong idea that causes the disturbance.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so the understanding leads to less fear and more easy living, because nothing to be lost at all, because that which one's afraid of doesn't exist anyway.
Yeah.
The only thing that gets lost is the wrong view.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
And with metta, so I think that when we're talking about understanding has to understand whatever appears. It doesn't matter at all whether it's attachment or dosa or metta or what the reality is.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we know that as understanding develops, the paramis, which include metta parami, develop together with the understanding and support it. Because when there is less clinging to oneself and one's own importance and all these other things that you mentioned, less consideration, more consideration, more kindness. It supports the development of understanding, not by trying to have it or not by wishing to have more metta, but just naturally it develops together with that understanding.
Yeah.
Gradually relinquishing that idea of self, which conditions more kusala.
But somehow I feel ashamed of me having not many moments of metta. They do not arise so often.
And what about when there's feeling ashamed and thinking of oneself like that? What kind of reality is that? Not metta.
Yeah, not metta at all.
It's just clinging to oneself again, feeling ashamed and minding that there's not as much metta as one would like to have.
Yeah, so it's quite a selfish attitude.
It's just clinging again, that's all. But it's just a passing Dhamma. It's not my clinging or anyone else's clinging. But one can, when it arises, that feeling of being ashamed or wishing to have more metta, it's just another Dhamma, and then it's gone.
Yeah,
it can be understood too.
Yeah, thank you.
Ajahn, can I ask you a question?
Please.
Last time in Zoom, you the group discussing a lot regarding about jhana. Can you please explain more about that? Because I'm not understanding the meaning of jhana very well. Thank you.
You mean chanda, right?
No, you know the jhana is the level of the
calm.
No. You know the arahant, the Sopatana, they depending on the level of how they, because I don't understand the word jhana, so that's why I cannot explain very well. The spelling is Jhana, jhana.
Chana.
Yes, Sarah, is that right spelling, Sarah?
She's asking about jhana, Ajahn, and I think
Jhana.
Jhana, yeah.
Yes. And
so
what is it?
I don't know. That's why. Could you please explain about that? Yes.
Why are you interested in this word?
Because the group discussing about this word a lot in the Zoom a few weeks ago, and I do not understand very well about this topic.
Because it's not easy word at all, depending on Pajjaya as well, because there is also jhana Pajjaya, see. But we are used to do a jhana. We take it so easy, but actually it's not as easy. Without the cetasika, which are the factor of jhana, can there be jhana? Can there be jhana?
Without the cetasika,
the jhana's factor. Can there be jhana?
As far as I understand a little bit, no.
So, do you know what are the factors of jhana, cetasika?
I think this the vitaka,
Okay, is there vitaka now?
vichara. Yes.
Is it jhana now?
I don't know.
Not at all. Because jhana is the high level of kusala, not just the kamavajra kusala. See? That's why the understanding of the danger of clinging to sensuous object, one develops jhana, but it has to be with understanding only. If there is no understanding at all, the difference between the moment of being calm, full of akusala, and the moment without akusala, which is so very short in a day. And those people who know about this develop the high degree of kusala without the experiencing of the sensuous object anymore. See, is there the object of what you would like to develop? Or the understanding of the truth that can be now, anytime, when panya develops, not only jhana.
But
Because
what does
cannot be
jhana
represented
mean?
the idea of
Anyway.
self at all. And it's so very difficult that it needs higher panya, which sees the danger of the sensuous objects. Do you still like sensuous object, but you would like to have jhana? That's why before we talk about anything, we better talk about that clearer and clearer in order to understand that it's not as easy as everyone uses this word jhana. It's quite difficult for those who see the danger of attachment to the sensuous object and cannot eradicate it. That's why no panya enough to eradicate the attachment and avijja, but there can be the understanding of that very moment to develop the jhana, but not at once at all. That's why Moggallana praised Sariputta of his wisdom, and Sariputta praised Moggallana for his very keen jhana, very skillful. Nobody can compare it. Are we like them?
No.
To understand it as that it's so very difficult. It has to be so sincerely understand the danger of sensuous object and just want to get away from it. But sometimes, but not eradicate it. The attachment to the idea of self with jhana impossible. So now we just know that what is jhana, it's not kamavajra citta, and why people develop it to have no experiencing of the sensuous object with panya or without panya. Without panya, there is no time at all in life to gain such understanding, such degree of seeing the danger of sensuous object. So if anyone says that he has got or he attained jhana, do you believe? Without any understanding at all. Understanding of what? See, there must be conditions for all kinds of realities. In Thailand, some people think that they have attained jhana, see, first, second, third, fourth, see, all wrong. No panya at all. How can it be done? Or develop to that degree. Can you keep away from the sensuous subject?
Yes.
How? How can you keep away from sensuous subject? Now or when?
Okay. Yes.
Mhm.
No, I can't. Yep.
Mhm. But you know now that it's so very difficult. That's why there must be seeing the danger of clinging to sensuous object and know the moment of kusala and know that it can develop more and more to be more calm to that degree of jhana, which is not easy at all.
No, it's not. Yep. It's really, really, really hard.
Could Sariputta has good jhana as Moggallana? Even he is the foremost of the Savaka of Panya, Parami. So what's the use of thinking about jhana to develop it, to understand it, or what? Can there be the understanding of the calm at moment of kusala to develop more higher level of calmness? See, all levels of kusala is calm.
I think, Tan, it would be more useful for you to ask or consider about what calmness is now, what calmness is in daily life, because if there's no understanding, no beginning of understanding what calmness is, then it's impossible for calmness to be developed. So no matter we're talking about jhana or vipassana or whatever the topic, it has to begin with understanding from the beginning and understanding at this moment. And we were stressing when, I think in the discussion you mentioned, we were discussing that with the development of understanding of realities, calmness develops with it. No, and this is a higher kind of calmness. And what we were mentioning at the moment of enlightenment, there are two kinds of jhana, and at the moment of enlightenment, lokuttara citas are at the degree of jhana because the object is nibbana. But even for this, no point discussing it if there's no understanding at all about what the realities are now or what calmness is at this moment. So it always has to come back to the beginning and back to understanding life right now. Otherwise, we just get more and more confused trying to collect terms and understand details which we can't follow.
And is actually a particular kind of citta consciousness, different from the kind of consciousness that you and I experience for our whole lives, that people here will experience throughout their life as a human being. So it is a particular kind of consciousness that results from the development of kusala and the calmness of kusala to a very high degree. But it's really not something within reach of us in this lifetime. So it's probably better just to think about developing kusala.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
I think, as Ajahn mentioned, a lot of people, like in Thailand or other places, mistakenly think they have attained jhanas, or they think that jhana has to be attained, mundane jhana has to be attained before the development of understanding or as a basis. And I think this was the point that I think it was Robert was bringing up about these mistaken ideas people have. So that was the point of the discussion, showing that it's not necessary and it's not what people think, because right from the beginning there isn't any understanding of calmness, and as Ajahn mentioned, it's clinging to sensuous objects, so how can it attain anyway?
Thank you.
So better to come back to talk about the realities that can be known in daily life, because this is basis for the way that understanding develops.
Dan, may I ask a question?
Yes.
Hello, how are you?
Fine, thank you. And you?
Yes, well, thank you. Ajahn, thinking about taking realities for people and things before there is direct experience of realities, I was wondering why there seems to be a difference in, for example, if I think about you and if I see a picture of you and then I were to meet you, each of those experiences I would be taking for someone, but each of them seem to be not the same. And
You-
I was wondering why that is.
Can anyone change the truth of reality?
No.
So as long as lopa is there, even the sotapanna's lopa has to be just lopa. See, it cannot be kusala at all. That's why even Buddha, when he saw Ananda, what about his thought about him? See, no akusala at all. But depending on that moment, whether it is what level or what kind of kusala is there. But no doubt about no self and no one. That's why even there is the idea of something. It's so common because after seeing, there must be conditions for thinking about shape and form and what is there as usual, but no doubt about the truth of no one at all, only different realities. But that is samuti as to be this or that because of different realities conditioned to be such and such differently. That's why there can be more kusala, see, metta, thinking with metta of just want to share the good things and so on. See? So exactly no one can change the characteristic of any reality, understanding it, but have conditions for more kusala. See, even thinking of the same person, more kusala than usual.
So does that mean that it does not matter whether thinking about a person as a concept, like when we think in terms of concepts?
What is this wrong understanding of taking it for something very permanent?
Yes, I suppose if I were to meet you, I would still be thinking about a concept of Ajahn.
Yes, I am glad to see you. See, no one can stop that kind of feeling at all by conditions. But understanding the truth, no doubt about the characteristic which is rupa or nama, even it's not there. Because as long as the conditions for akusla have to arise is there. So by conditions depending on accumulation, that's why even Sotapanna asks different and different moment of everyone and everything, see? But the understanding depending on condition, whether it arises at that very moment or not. That's why even meeting you, there can be moment of enlightenment. No selection at all. All depends on conditions.
Yes,
Or
I
confidence
would
on
have to say that the conditions, if we were to meet, the conditions are actually different to these conditions, for example. And we cannot know what the conditions are, can we? The conditions are too complex, too unknown.
That's why it can condition more confidence in anatthaness, see, in all aspects. Anatta. We plan to meet, but we might not meet again, see?
Yes.
We don't know at all. We don't know. That's why from understanding the truth of Kanika Marana, temporarily or each moment's death, bring about less fear of whatever will come. It's just that moment of thought and then it's gone. The other moment is conditioned instantly. So how can anyone do anything? But can there be more? There can be more understanding of the truth of no one and nothing. All are conditioned realities. Less clinging, less dosa, and less akusla because of the understanding of anicca, dukkha, and anatta. No one at all. Even one moment is so very, very worthwhile, very, very precious, because it will condition other moment of understanding the truth little by little. The way to develop parami, or the way parami develops. No one there at all. That's why each moment of understanding the truth is so very, very precious, because it will condition more understanding little by little to see what is there now. Because we're talking about different jetasikas, but no understanding directly of that which is there, performing the function, like feeling and sanya, vedana and sanya and vitaka and whatever is there. It's not known, but it can be object directly by conditions, little by little, even what we say, metta, see, at the moment of metta, at the moment of what is there, can be gradually known, little by little, unexpectedly. If one tries, Panya knows that it's wrong. That's why even those who have right understanding of the path and developing on the path little by little still have silapata pramasa, wrong belief, even just a little.
Ajahn, I actually liked what you said earlier. I think you were answering Tadao's question, and you talked about realities arising and falling away so rapidly, and you said, so why bother? Why bother trying to do anything? And it seems very obvious, but it takes us a long time to actually learn that. And it is a kind of a learning, isn't it? That but still at an intellectual level, because we cannot know that rising and falling away yet.
But without intellectual understanding, impossible to have direct awareness and with understanding, because of understanding can condition direct awareness. Otherwise, nothing can lead to this moment to understand as it is, as whether it is direct awareness or not. See, even that is not known. But Panya knows everything, stage by stage, little by little. Each moment is so very precious because it can condition other moment with a little more understanding gradually. And one will say, how long and how difficult. Nothing is as difficult as to understand that which is now appearing as it is. But it is possible when Panya develops on and on and on with more confidence on no one who can do. Otherwise, there must be the moment of intention, even just a little bit there. If it's not known, it's there. But when it's known, less and less intention to do this or that.
Mhm. Mhm. Yes. Thank you, Ajahn.
Be patient, not I. See, but the understanding conditions such patience in life, each life, little by little. And when it's time to understand even just a little bit more, the kind of relief and release from ignorance is there. Stage by stage, little by little. But it's kind of relief from fear or anything as this or whatever it's there. Wealth or whatever. Panya is there. Protect one from akusala. And see, when there is such understanding and with parami, it is savaka bodhisattva. Three kinds of bodhisattva: Samma Sambuddho, Pacceka Buddho, and then Savaka Bodhisattva.
Ajahn, what is the goal of Sawaka Bodhisattva? The
Savaka.
Sawaka enlightenment, become an arahat.
Yeah, from Supatana, there's no gap, or there's no what you call hindrance to become arahata
Uh,
by conditions.
yeah, because Mahayana has a very different idea. They think that Sawaka Bodhisattva, the goal of Sawaka Bodhisattva is becoming a Sama Sambuddho. It's
No.
their, yeah, so it's totally wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah, good. Thank you. So, what is the most important qualification?
standing.
Oh, understanding. Okay, so important thing is for Sawaka Bodhisattva is understanding, and understanding.
Without understanding, there cannot be barami. All kind of goodness cannot be barami without panya. No matter dana or sila or bhavana at level of samatha.
So, for the sake of understanding, we have to listen, think, listen, think.
Yes, that is the path of Savaka Bodhisatta. No wish to be Sammasambuddho.
Mm. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. To be Savaka is not easy. What about the Sammasambuddho?
Yeah.
When there is the understanding of anything which is taught by the Buddha, that it is the understanding of the great virtues of the Buddha,
Yeah.
Panya and Karuna, Mahakaruna, and Praparisuddhi, purity.
Mm.
Otherwise, no way to understand whatever is now at all in samsara.
Yeah.
It's covered up tightly,
Mm.
tighter and tighter each moment.
Mm. So, as a Savaka Bodhisattva, understanding is important, but it has to be supported by patience.
Yes,
Yeah.
parami,
Mm.
kanti parami.
Yeah.
Patient, not to be like the form with ignorance all the time, not understanding that what is better, what is kusala and what is akusala. Akusala cannot lead to enlightenment at all, but kusala and kusala with panya can be conditioned for enlightenment. As whatever you determine or would like to be samta or paccek and sammasambuddho.
Mm. Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate so much about the understanding of you who understand the depth and the subtlety of whatever is now appearing. See, it's so easy to say that seeing sees, but that's not enough because seeing is not self. So what is its nature? That which arises, otherwise it cannot see, just arise to see only that, see, only that, until it's more and more understood. And the moment of understanding clearer and better is kind of relief from burden.
Mm.
Being one self for a long, long time in samsara, but actually nothing is there, even right now. That which is now just a moment ago gone, kanika morana, no fear of death because death is each moment now,
Mm.
completely gone, but not yet, as it's not the death in this life.
But here I have a question. So-called I has been developing sati and panya, yeah? But when I pass away, who is going to continue this development of sati and panya? Because he often says that there is no tadao, no tadao. Once he passed away, that's it. But my question is there sort of aggregates of chitta, cetasika, and rupa, which carries out this duty of development of sati and panya.
Was there a moment ago?
Mm.
See, but this moment is not a moment ago.
Mm.
By condition, there must be that which is conditioned to arise anantara paccaya of each chitta and cetasikas. See, who can stop the anantara paccaya of what is now?
Mm.
As soon as it's gone completely, nati paccayo,
Mm.
it conditioned the next moment by having anantara paccaya. See, in each and cetasika. The only chitta which does not condition next moment is only arahata. Parinibbana of Arahata only.
Yeah.
No doubt how it can continue. But not the same one, see?
Yeah. That is a very hard point to see, to understand.
That's what Buddha said after his enlightenment. Dhamma is so very subtle, very difficult to understand. But as there can be the person who understands, he taught for that person. And we are in his the net of jhana. He knew what would happen. Only those who have accumulation to see the benefit, the great benefit of understanding the truth in this life as we this person, because we don't know next life. But there are conditions to condition when there can be moment period again to understand better and better. Khanti parami, aditana parami, condition the moment to hear it again. By conditions.
Yeah.
And Tadao, earlier you said we just listen and think, and we listen and we think, and we listen and we think. But even the listening and the thinking is not I who does anything. It's just different chittas arising by conditions and falling away.
Exactly.
In reality, no I who can do anything. And it's the same with the accumulation of sati and panya. They accumulate by different conditions, by Pakutu Upanisya Pachya and Nantara Pachya, so on. So they accumulate when they arise, but just as it's not I who can listen or I who can think, it's not I who can make sati develop or make sati accumulate. And this is the way to understand how each reality, just like the dosa or the attachment accumulates, so sati and panya accumulates from moment to moment. And at the end of this life, it's just another chitta. So the accumulations continue on, carry from one chitta to another, actually no different from now. So it's just like that self that you're concerned about losing is actually a fantasy. You're afraid of losing. And so the same way, the I who has this sati and panya, it's just a fantasy, because no I who has anything in truth. No I who can do anything at all. So nothing to be afraid or concerned about, because they're just different realities that perform their functions and accumulate, just like the attachment accumulates usually.
Yeah. I totally agree with you.
I have a question for Ajahn.
Yes, please.
Sawadika. I've written here, seeing a moment ago is not the same as now, and then forget about the past. But it's impossible almost to forget about the past, because sanya arises and falls just the same as citta. And it's always, it's marking, but it's also remembering. So it's not really possible to forget about the past. So what does that comment mean?
What of that? What do you mean?
Well, it says seeing a moment ago is not the same as now. So forget about the past.
Completely gone. And then?
It means
Well,
Zita, it's no value in dwelling on the past and what's gone, because it's completely gone and never to return. Of course, it depends on conditions now, whether or not sanya marks and whether Vitaka thinks about the past. But when Ajahn says, forget about the past, it just means no use in dwelling on it. So it's just pointing out that it's just akusala thinking, not I who has to try not to think about the past. When actually it's what the Buddha said. The Buddha said what's gone is gone and what hasn't come hasn't come. So understand what is appears this moment, what is conditioned now. Of course, it depends on accumulations, what is thought about, but he's just pointing out the truth that it's so useless to keep dwelling on the seeing that's gone, or the hearing, or the dosa that happened yesterday, because it's all completely gone.
Hi, Sarah. I have a question here. We've accumulated so many or so much sanya, yeah? Because we lived in this world for many decades, and we have accumulated so much sanya.
Many aeons.
Oh, oh yeah, but at least in this life, can we say that they are all useless or not? Can we say that they have no values?
Mostly all useless, and even the sanya marking what is the object of understanding, even that you can say in the deepest sense is useless, because it arises and is gone instantly, not worth clinging to. Even that is dukkha, unsatisfactory, because it's impermanent. So even the wholesome sanya with panya is useless in that it's
that's
can't be held on to. Yes.
That's I often wonder, because many people have idea that I've done such and such things in this life, at least in this life, but can we say that these are all useless?
That's what I used to say to my mother when she was concerned about forgetting everything and not remembering any holidays and trips. And I said, oh, none of it's of any importance whatsoever. It's all going to be forgotten at the end of life anyway. It's all useless, as you say.
Okay. Thank you.
On the other hand, it's necessary for living in this world to have memory of the past. Otherwise, one wouldn't be able to function. One wouldn't recognize people or things or whatever. But in Dhamma terms, when we talk about what is useful or what has a merit, then conditioned Dhammas are all unsatisfactory. So we mean useless in the sense of unsatisfactory, as in having the quality of dukkha characteristic.
Yes, thank you.
But I think in the quote that Azita gave, it's particularly referring to how seeing, for example, we think it lasts and cling on to it, but actually each moment of seeing just arises for an instant and is gone completely, never to arise again. So no point in dwelling on it, no point in clinging to it or taking it for something, because it's gone as soon as it's arisen.
Could be no understanding of the words spoken by someone else, because it needs sanya in order to process, if you like, the sound to have meaning to it. So sanya of the past, very, very useful at a conventional level, but in the ultimate sense, all are unsatisfactory.
Yeah, we think they are important sanya or memories, but what do we take sanya, which are important, maybe closely related with our conceit. Our conceit somehow conditioned to retain the so-called important memories.
Clinging.
Clinging.
clinging to what's been seen, clinging to what's been heard,
Yeah.
clinging to the memory of this name or that name.
And no one wants to be the person who can't remember other people's names, for example.
Mm. Thank you.
Ajahn, we're not able to hear you if you're speaking now. Sorry.
I'm listening. I enjoy listening very much.
Oh, okay.
Good. Alan, last week you brought up a topic about the 8 kinds of emancipation or something. I don't know if you want to ask Ajahn about it, or whether you.
Sorry, can you
or-
repeat that, Sarah? Because my internet connection went down.
Okay, last week you brought up a question about the 8 kinds of emancipation, and we weren't quite sure what you were referring to. I don't know if you checked it or whether you would like to ask Ajahn about that or anything.
No, I haven't checked it since then. It was in the human types, designation of human types, part of the Abhidhamma. I think it meant the Phala Chitta and the Magga Chitta of the person who becomes enlightened. So there are 8 types. So yeah, I haven't any questions.
8 Lokuttara Chittas. Then
8 yes, I think that's what it was referring to.
And 4 Phala Chittas.
Yes, I couldn't. There was something that I heard Ajahn talking about a month ago when talking about Theravada and Hinayana, and she talked about the word terra meaning straight to the truth. I understood the word terra meaning doctrine of the elders or something like that, but she was talking about terra meaning truth or something like that. Perhaps that would be quite interesting to go over that word. What does this word terra mean?
Actually, Thera means very strong and firm confidence.
Okay. And the Terra as in Theravada?
Yes, firm with confidence in the Buddha's words. Never change.
Okay.
Respectfully, carefully. Studied carefully until that person has very firm. Even the young monk can be Thera, but even its old and long time monk cannot be Thera when he has got the wrong understanding.
Oh, that's quite interesting. So, because I hadn't heard that before, I always assumed that terra meant doctrine of the elders. So terra means firm confidence. That's quite interesting. Yes.
But when it's said that it's the understanding of the elders of the terras, it means those with developed understanding. That is what is meant by the elders.
Oh, I see. So it's still the same kind of meaning that it's the firm confidence of the truth.
Understanding of the truth.
Yes, I see. I understand that. There's another word which that I don't hear mentioned much, but which is I think quite important, and that's the word impressive. So the more we understand about the Dharma, it's actually, the word is very impressive, isn't it? It's and that's, I suppose we can't say whether that's kusala or kusala. It's just that I find the Dharma very impressive. The more I understand. So is there an impressive Chetasika? No, it's probably PT or attachment as well, maybe. What do you think? What do you understand by impressive? Does that represent a reality?
One of the attributes of the Dhamma is that it leads one on. So the person who is interested in the Dhamma finds it compelling to go further. So that may be what the kind of thing you're referring
Yes, I think compelling, that's yeah, that's all the part of the same meaning, isn't it? Impressive, compelling.
Yeah.
Because without that, we wouldn't listen again and again, but we do listen again and again because actually it's impressive. And it's not just impressive hearing it once, that each time we listen to it, it's impressive. There's always something new there. So the importance of listening again and again, because actually we learn more and it becomes more impressive, more compelling as we go
I
ahead.
think when you say it's impressive, sorry, John. When you say it's impressive, I think you mean it makes one think more about it. So one hears something and then makes one consider it again and again, and one wants to hear more.
It's an aspect, and excuse me, it's an aspect of sattva.
Yes, an aspect of saddha.
Yeah.
And I think it's an aspect of truth as well, the fact that it represents the truth of reality, which can be proven without
So impressive,
on other
stronger sattva.
Yes. Yes, so it's an aspect of saddha and an aspect of satcha, that it is so true to this moment. The words represent the truth of this moment, which are not dependent on what anybody else says, because no matter what anybody around you says, the words of the Buddha represent the truth of this moment, which can be proven little by little. So yes, impressive. Thank you.
Because Sotapanna has more impressive than the one who is not Sotapanna, the worldly people, the lay people, worldly people.
And will the Sotapanna be still as keen to develop understanding now that he's reached
No doubt about the path anymore.
and will they still be keen to develop more understanding because they've reached the path, they've reached the goal, they've experienced Nibbana? Will the Sotapanna still be keen to develop more understanding, more keen to
understanding as conditions?
Okay, so yeah, that understanding is a condition to listen more, to consider more as well.
Mm-hmm.
The more impressive the teachings, the more precious and valuable the teachings, the more listening, considering, the more understanding develops. So for the Sotapanna, it's more impressive, it's more valuable than it is for us, because it's appreciated at a greater level. So there is more understanding developed than for worldling, on and on and on.
Yes, I can understand that. Yeah, and also more understanding to help others understand as well, that it's more so that you're preserving the teachings and explaining it to others. So there's that aspect of it as well. Yeah, you can see that. I read recently, and I'm sure it's wrong, that Rahula, the Buddha's son, was appointed the guardian of Dharma, and that basically he's still not dead yet because one of his functions was to be a guardian of Dharma. Have you heard that at all? I'm sure it was made up. No. 4 guardians of Dharma? No.
If it said that Rahula's not dead yet, it's definitely made up.
Yes, I'm sure. Yeah, okay. Yeah, all right, thank you. I don't think I've got any more questions from that now.
That's probably something that can be definitely forgotten.
Yes, yeah, I'm sure.
So if we just say forget it, you know what that means, Azita? No use. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Ajahn, if no one else has anything they would like to bring up, there was a point that came up in one of the discussions when we were talking about the 4 ahara pachya, the 4 kinds of nutriment, and this was about chaitana. And we know that chaitana arises with every chitta and it coordinates at each moment. But in the discussion under ahara pachya, you were referring to chaitana as will to do, and you were saying that whatever follows is because of will to do, but in a different way from passa, of course, like will to live. So life continues on from that condition.
That will to keep on thinking about the new things all the time. The will to have the world go on like what you think and so on and on endlessly.
So if we're talking about chaitana as ahara pachya, and you're talking about the will to live, to will to go on thinking about different things, will to think about seeing that's gone and so on, is it just referring to kusala and akusala chaitana as ahara pachya or any chaitana?
Because it will condition different chitta vijnanahara, see?
Yes.
Each moment of whatever goes on in this world, on and on and on, non-stop.
Yes, because of chaitana.
Itself is karma.
Yes. And yes, so whatever there's the will to live or will for anything is because of chaitana, because of karma. But can one say even at moments of vipaka, at moments of seeing or hearing, that chaitana is the will to do?
Sanchetanahara, see?
Sorry?
Which condition the vijnanahara, like pasahara.
Even at that moment of seeing or hearing or any moment by nutriment.
Different functions, by different functions.
Yes.
Pasa is pasahara, and chetana is manosanjanahara, and vijnanahara can bring about each moment of chitta with cetasikas.
Yes. So any moment of chaitana as will to do, will to live, will to see, will to hear, will
to create this and that. See?
This and that, yes.
Never stop. Go on.
Thank you.
And on and on. As Sankhara Dhamma.
And when we refer to Sankhara Dhamma, because we know that any conditioned reality is Sankhara Dhamma, but when we refer to Sankhara Khanda, it specifically refers to Chaitana and other Cetasikas.
Because you see that remember, just remember, it conditioned thought, so many thoughts about this and that, which is Chetana, to do. To condition the moment of experiencing Chitta and Chittasikas of what you'd like to have, as much as there are conditions for that to arise. But by no one, only by conditions. That's why there are different conditions, like pasahara, ahara pachaya.
Okay, that's very interesting, Ajahn.
Sarah, sorry, I have a question. According to the Ahara Pachaya, I have read your writing at the spot, about this, and it mentioned that plant and tree uh, don't need ahara nutriment. So only body needs internal nutriment as ahara pachaya. So
Right.
can you elaborate more? Yes.
Because the rupas of the tree or the computer, these rupas are just conditioned by temperature, not by ahara pachya, not by nutriment condition. So the rupas outside the body are only conditioned by temperature, but the rupas of the body are conditioned by temperature, by chitta, by kama, or by ahara. If there is no food, nutriment, then after a while one has to eat again, otherwise the body cannot continue. So it depends on the nutriment. But the rupas outside the body don't depend on ahara, food, nutriment, only on temperature.
So the things that are fertilizer or water or another kinds to feed the tree and plant doesn't mean is nutriment.
These are conventional ideas, like someone asked about oxygen and something else. So these are conventional ideas, but in terms of realities, those rupas just depend on temperature only. The fertilizer and these things are not realities.
I see. But the nutriment in in 8 kalapa in the one rupa, so it doesn't mean that it's a one kind of
like
nutriment.
nutriment is a rupa that arises in every kalapa. So even in the rupas that make up the table or the computer, in each kalapa, in each group, there is ahara. There is that rupa that arises in that group of rupas, conditioned by the primary rupas and conditioning the other rupas. But the cause of that kalapa to arise outside the body is just temperature.
Thank you, Sarah. Yes.
Maybe Ajahn would like to add something further on this.
Yes.
Is it possible to experience ahara, the nutriment? Kapli kala.
No, cannot. Yes. No, Ajahn, you cannot.
It's there. See, that's why only that which appears can be understood as it is, as no one, nothing. If there can be direct awareness with understanding of that which is now appearing, is it good, better? Not wasting time thinking about anything hinders the moment of direct awareness, because no conditions for it to arise. When we study wrongly on Vinaya, it conditions such and such. On Suttanta, it's such and such. And for Abhidhamma, it's just such and such. Just know that now there is Phassa. Is that enough? Or would like to try so very hard to experience it? Like ahara, it's there with each rupa. At least 8 together, the 4 primaries and the derived rupas. Otherwise, we don't know why do we have to eat. Because the body cannot maintain without food as one condition for its rising. The trees and the things do not need to have the nutriment, but the body is different. That's why it needs also the nutriment to maintain and to condition the arising on and on of the body. Is it the same as taste, nutriment, or different rupa?
I think it's different rupa.
Right.
Hi, Sujin. I have a question about food. There is a very well-known sutta which describes one couple trying to cross a desert with their son. When their son passed away, they used son's flesh as a provision to cross the desert. And Buddha is teaching this sutta to remind the monks they should think their food very carefully, as if it's their own son's flesh. And my question here is, it's an instruction for monks. How about lay people? Do we have to have the same kind of idea when we take food or not?
The truth is the truth for everyone. But then in the day, there are so many moments of clinging to food, as taste, or some kind of food which is very nutritious. But it all depends on clinging. And cling to everything. That's why to have less clinging. It's not just only for the monk, for everyone.
So it's better consume food with less clinging, with less attachment.
But it's better to just to live to understand.
Having less attachment to food is very difficult for me. It's very difficult.
Because of less understanding. When there's more understanding, it conditions such different moments from now. Not for anyone just to try without understanding. But the understanding itself works its way.
So better not forget sati and panya even while one is consuming food.
All depends on accumulation. Some might cling to food so much, the other might cling to beauty so much, the other might cling to sound so much. all depends on conditions. It leads to more understanding of anothernness, no one at all. So no one can do anything because actually they're all dhammas.
Oh, good, good. Thank you very much.
When there's clinging to food, it's there already, no? And if one tries not to have that clinging or doesn't eat to have less clinging, then that's the wrong way again. That's Silabhata Paramasa, trying not to cling or thinking one can arrange things so there's less clinging.
Yeah.
And on Hang's point about the fertilizer, so the ahara, the nutriment in the kalapas in the fertilizer, it is ahara pachya for any insects that eat or take nutriment from that, from those rupas. But for the plants or trees without any living body, then only the temperature in those kalapas can be conditioned for the rupas of those things that are not a body. So when one understands more about the different dhammas and how they're conditioned, then it's less confusing because one thinks less about the situation or the quality and why fertilizer or food cannot be nutriment for the trees or the computer, but it can for the insects at that time, because the rupas of the tree can only be conditioned by temperature, those groups. And Tambak, last time you also had a couple of questions. One was about talking about ayatanas and about heart base, and one was about feelings impinging. Is there anything more on those you would like to ask Ajahn about?
I think I'm happy with what everyone was saying, adding at the end of the discussions for now. So I'm fine. But I have a question regarding what Ellen brought up about the 8 kinds of emancipation. So if it refers to the Phala and Magga Chittas of each of the 4 stages for enlightenment, how I'm not sure I understand why, for example, for the Sottapatti Magga and the Sottapatti Phala, is it counted as 2? Because normally when one attains Magga Chitta, and then the Phala Chitta follows. So would you help to explain this detail?
I think the English translation was a bit confusing, so we think that it's just referring to these 8 stages or kinds of Lokuttara Chitta. So the Magga Chitta is different from the Phala Chitta. So often there are so many suttas and it refers to 8 stages. So even though the Phala Chitta follows immediately after the Magga Chitta, it's a different reality.
Okay. So this translation as kind of persons is actually not precise.
Well, actually in the Pugala Panyati, they often refer to people like following the descriptions in the Anguttara Nikaya, but it makes it clear in the commentary that it's referring to the different chittas. So that's why even the Abhidhamma can all be read with the wrong idea of people attaining this and that. So it's actually referring to the different citas, the Magga Citta and the Pala Citta at each level.
Okay.
And, yes, and they
even in the sutras, it refers to the four pairs of persons, or the
Yes.
8 persons there. They do use that terminology.
referring to Magga and Pala Cittas, and they refer to the person who's close to enlightenment, and then it's clear that actually it's referring to the Gotrabu Citta. So it all depends how it's read. Actually, just referring to particular cittas only.
Okay, thank you.
I'd like to clear up one thing about this nutritive essence which arises in every kalapa. So, for example, this wooden table I'm leaning on has the rupa. The rupas have nutritive essence. So, but not like what I understood you say before. Not everything benefits from the nutritive essence. Say for termites eating this table.
Then it's Ahara Pachya for that termite, but it's not Ahara Pachya for you or I, because we can't eating it, or it's not conditioning the rupas of our bodies. But for the termite, it is at that moment.
Okay, yes. Thank
So
you.
it's one of the rupas that arises in every group, along with the 4 primary rupas and visible object and taste and odor and nutritive essence. So every group of rupas has nutritive essence, but it depends whether any insect or living being is conditioned by the rupas of any living being is conditioned by that nutritive essence in that kalapa at that moment or not.
Yes, I was thinking about it some time ago, and looking out into the bush and saying, well, it's all got nutritive essence, but can I eat it? Will it make me sick? So that's really good. Thank you. It's cleared it up somewhat. Thank you.
Yes, I think I also appreciated when Ajahn said that ahara appear now. All of this shows how difficult for us to understand the realities, and it's easy to just mix up between the conventional ideas of food and the realities.
Right. So forget about the conventional idea of nutriment, because it actually is that rupa that arises in a kalapa, and it can be the nutriment outside the body or the nutriment inside the body, even when one's not eating. The kalapas, the rupas in the body can be conditioned by nutriment inside the body. But if it goes on for too long, then the rupas of the body cannot continue if one doesn't take some nutriment from outside the body. But there is ahara and the rupas inside and outside the body.
Yes, very good point. Thank you. Thank you, Tom.
Gabby or Alberto or anyone else, do you have anything you'd like to say before we finish?
Hello. I want to ask Ajahn a question about Vijnanahara. Because I thought that Pasa and Chetana are nutriment condition for Chitta and Chetasikas, and how is Vijnana like Pasa is needed for Chitta to contact the object, and intention is needed for Chitta and the Cetasika to coordinate the experience with of the object. But how is Vijnana Ahara Pachaya? How in what respect, in what I'm not really sure I can see the function of Vijnana as Ahara Pachaya, but maybe in don't know.
Because Vijnana is Chitta, the chief of experiencing. So without Chitta experiencing the object, the other Chetasikas cannot arise. So it's conditioned for them by being the chief of experiencing.
But Vijnana is the
Chitta, each moment, each Chitta.
Yeah.
Each Chitta at every moment in life is Ahara Pachya by being the chief of experiencing, conditioning these.
And how can that be nutriment for what? What does it feed?
Just like Pasa is nutriment for by contacting the object, it's nutriment for the Chitta and Chetasikas that arise with it, and Chetana is nutriment by coordinating, or the point that I mentioned, the will to do, will to live, conditioning the Chitta and Chetasikas. So Chitta is the Ahara Pachya, the nutriment, by being the chief of experience. I don't know if Ajahn has anything else.
Okay. If there is no seeing of that object at all, can you think much about it?
No, right, no.
There's no hearing about. If there's no hearing that object, can they be thinking a lot about that sound as what it means and so on? Bring about many thinking about it further and further? Can it be said as ahara for thought and for everything, after seeing, hearing, or experiencing anything? It brings more and more chittas about that.
Yeah. Okay.
I think time is up. Dika, Ajahn, thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Is it